Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Sakamoto Days, Season 1.
Yep, Sakamoto Days, Season 1, Episode 16. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. We're back for more Anime Night in the dojo. And for anybody looking for the reaction bit, it is going to be down there in the description and or the first pinned comment, assuming that comment actually goes up when I tell it to. So just doing PSA on that every once in a while if you're looking for the reaction stuff. But as for Sakamoto Days, last week, we didn't really get to talk about this over here, but I still made it the still of the week, was Sakamoto going ham on the mandarins. That was a solid background shot of everything that was going on when they were talking to a part. So that was pretty neat. But I had to complain about gun stuff again last week and security guard stuff. Incompetence. We talk about reasonable people a lot in My Dress Up Darling. In this universe, we got the dumb, you know? We got a lot of the dumb and incompetent. But, yeah, I don't know. We're just seeing, we're gonna have to see what Slur's plan is here. I mean, if he's gonna take out a bunch of dumb people, is that really accomplishing anything? I mean, just saying. Not saying everyone in that building is gonna be incompetent, but man... just seems to be piling on with this series over here. So, not everybody's the lovable homeless guy that is Heisuke. At least he's still competent, despite what his bosses have told him by giving him a knife and trying to tell him to not snipe. So, I don't know. We've already had that discussion, so I'm just going to leave that there. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Slur and his buddy are up to with what they're going to try to accomplish, especially since it doesn't seem like maybe there's going to be one of the MIA order members there. Maybe that's what's happening, but I don't know. Maybe they're after information or something. I don't know, but whatever the plan is, we'll have to see what the deal is, because as we've seen at the end of every episode, Slur has his own tile in the credits by himself. So,
and he also was the only person who got a freaking introductory nameplate when he showed up on screen.
Yep.
Last episode.
Right. So
even Gyako or whatever the hell the name was of his lackey there didn't get one, and he was the brand new character.
Yep. So anyway, that being said, not a huge amount to say going into this one. So get the timer stuff set up for you guys over on Patreon, and then we'll see you guys on the other side of the edit here on YouTube for the review and discussion. So here goes something. Well, alrighty then. This was certainly a showcase of every level of power scaling going on in this world for the most part. We'll talk a little bit more about what I mentioned at the end of the reaction there with the fully desensitized populace. But yeah, this was definitely kind of all over the place in the power scaling setting. We had we had this guy who got totally knocked out and through a building and got Fast and Furious through a car. We had the instructor guy that was telling his people to fire, and then they all got decapitated, and he was like, well.
Yeah, why did I even come into work today?
Yeah, just full on Shikamaru, basically.
Yeah, this guy was clearly outmatched by Gyako, but he was at least capable of fighting him.
Yeah.
We have no clue about the instructor guy, because right after this guy gets knocked out, then it cuts to the old man showing up.
Yep. So either way, this was definitely a thing. Slur's plan is to rebuild the JA from the ground up with his ideology. Unsurprising.
He wants to rebuild Assassin Society.
Yeah.
Full stain.
Yeah, so, full stain. So that's basically kind of what we got out of his little backstory there from the reindeer guy when he met him or whatever. So we'll just have to see what else he's going to attempt to do here, because he did take out a reasonable amount of people in this 5-minute span, let's call it that, because they were on the 3rd floor within 2 minutes, and everybody in the office here was like super nonchalant about like, oh man, 2 guys aren't really going to do anything, and then you end up like this. So
yeah, they apparently, it was like 516 or something like that dead. Granted, most of them were support staff and not like actual assassins. But according to the final like roundup, apparently he's managed to kill off like 3/4 of the total like professional assassins over the course of this like half a year that he's been active.
Yep.
Between all like personal murders and then this attack on the JAA here.
Yep. So that's a pretty big deal, Tom. But I will say that the once again the power scaling like just spectrum of this episode was pretty impressive. So
you had the non-combatant guys here. You had a couple of professional assassins who are capable of at least fighting back against against Slur's like inner circle. Then we had like Sakamoto's crew, then Slur himself, and then the old man.
Yep. Which, as far as I'm concerned, the old man was at this stage the strongest guy in the building, because not only was he cutting the building in half, Slur, when he came to the realization or understanding that he was there, he was opting out. He didn't want to fight him.
Yeah, Slur was actively avoiding fighting the old man. Like, he genuinely did not want anything to do with him.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what the deal is, because we mentioned that at the end of the reaction as well, was the fact that one of the numbers was that there's somebody missing. Now, the most obvious choice there is the old man, because we had 3 injured. The 3 injured should be apart Sakamoto and Shin, even though Shin didn't get super injured, but he should be among those 3, because everybody else was dead. You know what I mean? And
yeah, all the assassins.
Unless they're counting the guy that got put through the car and he's alive. You know what I mean?
We don't know if he is actually alive. He could be alive, but it looks like his neck was broken when he went.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, was something like 116 confirmed dead, the 3 injuries, which was Sakamoto, Shin, and apart, and then the 1 disappearance, which when they mention the disappearance, they look at like the center of the blast, which is where the old man was.
Yep.
But during the blast, we see the old man still alive initially, and like shielding himself from it.
Yeah. So we'll just have to see what comes of him, especially with the fact that he was like labeled as like the Phantom of the JAA. So
yeah, even all the other Order members are afraid of him and stuff like that. Like, the only person we've seen so far in the series who seems like potentially even on his level is Nagamo.
Yeah. So, well, lots of definite intrigue in this. You generally don't see power scaling, like the power scaling spectrum of any series, like this broadly showcased all at the same time. You know what I mean? You had everything from like, let's just call it like C rank to freaking Super S rank, all in the same vicinity at the same time doing stuff. So
yeah,
that was pretty neat. But speaking of really neat, probably not going to be able to immediately land on it. But when the old guy shows up and he opens the door the way that he did, you want to talk about new life goals? You know what I mean? Like, if anybody has needs like an idea for like an entrance, like I know a lot of people have been doing like wrestling based entrances for like their weddings and stuff like that. Using like say John Cena's theme music or whatever. That kind of entrance. Do this instead. Just get like a door that you can feasibly cut through. You know what I mean? And open it like that. Just put like some paper, like put a hole in it, find a way to put a hole in a door, but then like paper mache over it so that you can cut through it really easily, and then open the door like that.
Yeah, once again, he sticks his sword through the door like it's not even there.
Yeah, like just full on like hot knife through butter. Just it's like he's going through paper, like nothing. So that was, but just the fact that once again he was coming from like the staircase or whatever, and I assume that it general door handle and from like an office building. So you got to figure that there was probably a handle on the other side he could have used. But why do that? Why be super lame and open the door normally when you can do what he did? So once again, that has got to be the greatest just entrance to a hallway of all time. I challenge anybody to show me something cooler than that. Maybe there is, but it's the coolest way I've ever seen anyone enter a hallway. Period. You can't top it. New life goal is to be able to do something like that, even if it's like faux, and you just do it as like a cool entrance. It's like, holy crap, man.
Yeah,
I want that to be my WWE entrance. There have been a lot of cool entrances that WWE has. Freaking Triple H, go ahead and steal that idea for Shinsuke Nakamura. I know you hate him, but give him one more crazy entrance at WrestleMania. Just have him like cut through a door with a katana. You know what I mean?
Speaking of cutting through, though, we had a number of lost limbs in this fight.
Yeah, we went from fingers to full arm. A part lost his arm. It's just Sakamoto got stabbed a bunch, but tanked it because he's fluffy. Shin was spared. But yeah, there was a lot of just loss of extremities around here.
Yeah, freaking the double agent guy literally took a sword through the neck and still tanked it.
Still tanked it. Speaking of cool ways to stop somebody from shooting a gun at you, cut off their trigger finger.
Yeah,
in case you guys missed that, the old man cuts off his trigger finger.
He cuts his trigger finger off faster than he can pull the trigger.
Yep. I mean, we've seen some crazy nonsense in our time, but while some of these characters might not be the most powerful in fiction, the way they're doing it is insanely cool.
Which, once again, the series is heavily inspired off of John Wick, and that was largely what John Wick is too. It's like the actual power scaling in John Wick is really low. Pretty much everything that happens is like totally just normal human stuff, just done with like superhuman skill.
Yep.
But the big thing for John Wick is just that it's rule of cool.
Yep. And they are definitely nailing it. Especially with that door thing. I got nothing for that. That takes the entirety of the pain of freaking Shield Hero completely off. So
Did you watch Shield Hero before this?
Yeah. That was a thing that happened. You want to talk about interesting action sequences? That was literally night and day. So, yeah, I mean, this was everything you kind of want out of a show like this. So they definitely nailed that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see going forward how they're gonna like handle this situation with Slur and whatnot. We'll probably get some more backstory on their time at like the academy and stuff like that. Like because he was like a not like a no name, but just like another just like face in the crowd, like not topping the charts that Sakamoto, Nagamo, and the other person were. So
like it's like Mako or something like that. I didn't fully catch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the most notable thing about him at while they were at school was just that he was part of like the it crowd of being in with Sakamoto and Nagamo.
Yeah. So either way, we'll just have to see what comes of that. But I figured that this was just going to be one of those just like encounters, and then for whatever reason, Slur and Sakamoto's fight would be like cut short based on various factors. So the various factor being the old man being super spooky, and Slur not wanting anything to do with it.
Yeah, their fight was cut short by the old man cutting the building.
Yep. So either way, the other major thing to really come out of this was obviously the discussion with this guy, and the fact that every civilian in this is just so used to the madness. Like I mentioned it at the end of the reaction, is like, how do you look at this kid? He's like 5 tops, and it's just like, wow, look at that. That's just not even freaking out. Just like, yeah, we're used to it. This is just normal everyday life. We see crap like this all the time. It takes a while to acclimatize as a culture. You know what I mean? So at this point, you had like the old lady, like when he came through the wall, like, oh, you're huge. So the old lady in 70s,
No, you're
80s,
a tall one, aren't you?
yeah, just casual, like, oh, hey, look at that. Just adds the norm. We saw it last week, with the people being just like, oh yeah, whatever, just like the tower's falling, we should get out of here, whatever, not even freaking out. But it's just to get that desensitized to this kind of violence and destruction as a society is impressive, and it has to have taken a while. Bare minimum, a couple generations. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like, once again, in the John Wick comparison, that whole assassin society is supposed to friggin' go back like 1,000-some years, which explains, why that whole the entire world is just fully accepting of the assassin society.
Yep. But still, just, oh, sorry, doctor. I'm just gonna be walking out with your MRI machine, but I'll put the freaking vase back up for you. It's like, no, I see this all the time. It's like, if you're a freaking construction worker in this world, you must be a freaking millionaire. I mean, seriously. I mean, we know we have the cleanup crew and stuff like that does stuff, but they're probably still general contractors and people who actually put buildings back together and stuff like that. Though I guess the Leaning Tower of Tokyo is now just a thing, and they're not gonna fix it right now.
I mean, since we had a bit of a time skip here, they probably did fix it to the point where it's stable now and everything, and safe. But just, left it leaning.
Yeah. As a memory of the time the old man, bailed Sakamoto out by cutting off the one leg a little bit. Readjusted it. It was like Jenga, right? So, either way, really, really solid episode for just power scaling stuff. Just really driving home the point of how the populace is just used to this. This is just how it is. And that's impressive in its own way, I guess. You have to kind of look at it from that perspective of, if they're used to it, if you're used to something, that's how you're going to react to it. You know what I mean? Like, if you lived around the Hatfields and McCoys, and you know what I mean? It's like, well, they're at it again, whatever. I'm not going to freak out about it. This is just another freaking Tuesday, and they're trying to kill each other or whatever. As long as their collateral damage isn't killing me, what am I supposed to do about it? It's just how things are.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is basically just the mentality of the masses. It's just that this is just things that happen. Get out of the way if you feel like you're in danger. Otherwise, just go about your day.
Pretty much. Just keep walking, So it's one of those things that from the viewer perspective, how can they possibly? It's like, well, just think of something that you've gotten super used to over the years. You know what I mean? It's been there. You get used to using a certain technology, or just, kind of like Endeavor kind of talks about this when he's teaching Deku and Bakugo about parallel processing. the first time you drive a car, it's like foreign and weird, but eventually you could do it like in your sleep. It's like second nature. It's not a big deal. You're not freaking out about, oh man, I'm gonna run into whatever. For me especially, I could easily drive in my sleep. It's nothing. But I mean, I don't freak out about any situation. I can see how certain drivers around me are doing things, and I react accordingly. So to me, it's not a big. That for me is not a big deal, and for a lot of people, that's the same thing. So
you never forget how to ride a bike or to sleep. No, not sleep. I mean, swim.
Yeah. So it's
just one of those things that just like once it gets ingrained, that's just your body just knows how to do it.
Yep. And in the case of this, it's just cultural, and you just, oh well, that's happening again. Okay, whatever. It's no different than it raining outside. No, it's raining again. Okay, well, better put my umbrella on. Oh, the building's exploding again. Well, I better get the hell out of the way. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting for what it is. I mean, we saw it like even with like the poison guy, like one of the first like assassins of the week. Once his job was over, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go on the roller coaster now. F it, just do something else now. Even for them, it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go get a hamburger or whatever. So, yeah,
we're getting hard boiled, and Guro just spent the rest of the day hanging out with them at the freaking theme park.
Pretty much. So, going forward, it's just something we're gonna have to get used to with the series, and just not be surprised by it anymore, because they're not surprised by it as a culture. So it's like, well, that's just how they are. All right, we've more than established this at this point. We can't see it as weird because it's not weird to them. So it's definitely an interesting take on dealing with like weird stuff going on just in your everyday life. It's like, yeah, whatever. Oh, that's happening. Okay, well, hey boss, there's another like assassin fight on the 405. I'm gonna be late.
Yeah, it's like, once again, like John Wick is clearly like one of the biggest inspirations to this, but there is definitely a fair amount of MHA in there.
Yep.
With like Slur being very staid, and then the whole world being very accustomed to assassin society as a thing.
Yep. So,
well, guess I'm going to be late for work. Got another villain destroying the highway.
Yep. What am I supposed to do about it? I can't do anything about it. I have a quirk. I'm not Endeavor. I can't stop this guy. Then Mount Lady comes and drop kicks some guy, and that's how you met your mother. How did you meet Mom? Well, I was trying to stop a villain, and then she drop kicked him and stole my glory. Oh man, but yeah. Again, this is definitely a very solid show for what it's been so far. It'll be interesting to see like if we go back to more of like the pseudo villains of the week kind of deal from here, or we're just going to be having to deal with Slur and whatnot. Obviously, he has the look of the full series bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he might not be like the end-all bad guy. We might eventually transition into a true final bad guy, but he's definitely going to be one of the bigger main villains. Like, to I guess make a another series comparison, he might be like basically the equivalent of like Aizen.
Yeah.
Where like he's the major villain of most of the series, but he's not like the final villain of the series.
Right. So I'm not sure where the source material is at. So it's just one of those things that we'll just have to kind of see as it goes. Been pretty damn good so far, outside of my gun complaints and motorcycle complaint.
As far as I know, it's still ongoing, but I'm not sure where we are in like comparison to like catching up.
Right. Maybe check that out by the end of the season. I'll just kind of like try to see where this season ends. But since it's 2 core, that's probably going to be a pretty good chunk of just any kind of source material. So anyway, that's all I got. We'll leave you on the kid that's not phased by anything. Nerves of steel at 5 years old already. So, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond have you watching, we always appreciate you stopping by and hanging out here in the dojo for more anime night in the dojo. And this was Sakamoto Days, Season 1, Episode 16. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.